Well, hello everybody and welcome. It's Mark Husson. This is Mark Husson's Astrology Hour. I wasn't sure if you could hear the intro music or not, so I'm going to have you guys tell me if you were able to hear it. I am trying a new thing because people had said that they weren't able to hear it and it was coming through all weird. But anyway, I'm here. How are you? It is 9 a.m. my time. It's 8 o'clock Pacific on Monday the 18th. Welcome to everybody in the room. Thank you so much for coming. We're over on YouTube, you guys, youtube.com/@MHAstrology. You can hit the live button at the top and maybe hopefully see the stream. It's so good to have you here. And let me give a shout out to the room. And we have Linny in the house, and Nadine's here, and Truly, and Terry, and Carolyn Ferris is here. Wow, hi, Carolyn. What a sweet honor. Hi, Arlene. Carla's here. Barbara, thanks so much for coming by. Erica, your show was insane. Thank you so much for doing it. It was a great show. Erica Longden, she's in the UK, you guys, and she opens the show for me. Oh my gosh, that is not true. She is the show ahead of me. It is not like she's my warm-up band, but she is kind of in my head. She does her Tune In with Erica show, and she pulls cards, does readings, has an amazing perspective, and I'm just so honored that she's in front of me. Let's see. So you didn't hear it, right? You couldn't hear the music, the opening, no intro tunes on this end. Oh, darn it. Okay. I'll figure it out. I got to practice sometime when it's not like right before the show, but there was a way for me to put it into a pre-recorded thing. And because people were saying when I was playing it last time, it gets all choppy, and I went to hear it, and it is. And I haven't figured that thing out yet. So thanks for bearing with me on that. We'll figure it out. We really will at some point. But thanks again for coming by. Let me get all this straight. Okay, no intro tune. All right, good. Good to know you guys. Thank you so much. Hi, Audra. Good to have you here. Donna, thanks for coming. That you watching, you're liking the shorts I do daily. That's so funny because when I do those, I have to do them, as you all might imagine, in advance, right? So I kind of forget what they're about. But I'm at least 2 weeks ahead. And today I posted on Facebook, like it's a bad hair week. It's like a bad hair means something. And that's because Venus is going into Leo next week. I'm just so like, it's weird to prognosticate the future when you're in the present and you're doing it every day. And so I'm so far ahead that I kind of like lost track of where the planets are right now. So I love that you guys have some experience with me to know that as we introduce new people to our lives, I think they think this guy's a little off balance, but that's true. So that's good. Anyway, thanks again for coming in. Thank you. I know. Thank you, Nadine. Thanks for understanding the technological part of this is crazy. People were like, where did you learn that? And I'm like, do you know how many hours I spend on YouTube videos? And then I had to hire a guy to come and take care of the sound because I didn't get that very well. I didn't understand it. And there is something about the more you do it, and I'm trying to teach my staff this, the more you do it, the more you have loving people like you guys literally to practice on. And it's not really practice. It is practice. It is. We're learning it in front of you, right, in real time. And that you can be forgiving and allow me those steps to like, okay, the music didn't come through, but someday it will all just come together beautifully. And thank you for holding the space for that. That to me, oh, I can't even tell you. And I'm trying to tell my staff, do it now. Like, don't let it blow up. And then like people who don't know you, like do it among the people who love you. And that's you. That's you guys for real. Thank you. I mean that because I think about how lucky I am. Like John will say, do you need to practice that? And I'm like, well, I can't because I don't want to go live and it announces when you go live. Like there's all the things like that. But I said, they're safe for me. Like that group is lovely. And you guys are, you really are. And I don't even care about anything else except that I get this on, get to talk to you. And it used to make me so nervous that it wasn't perfect. I have Jupiter and Virgo. I'm going to freak out about this stuff. But you guys make that safe. And I can't emphasize that enough. Thank you. All right. So Peggy from All My Angels is here. Happy belated birthday, Peggy. I hate that I miss your birthday because you never forget anybody's birthday. But that you and I had a thing about me telling you, don't say happy birthday to people because you'll forget one. And there I go. See, now you know why. Hi, Heather. Thanks for coming and thank you for enjoying the shorts. That's very sweet. I have so much fun doing them. And I want you all to understand something. I am forced to keep them at under 3 minutes, YouTube rule. And so it's sometimes I'll start and say, hey, it's Mark Husson's astrology moment for, August 18th, 2025. And then it's like, oh, cut, do it over. Hi, it's Mark. And sometimes you're seeing one that has been done over like 15 times. Like, I don't care. I'm just doing it over, retake. Because like I said, I don't have somebody out here going, cut. That was great. Let's, it's me. It's just me. But thank you all. Maybe someday it won't. I watch YouTube streamers and they're like, well, I got my team to blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, I love how you did that. And it's like, whatever. Someday maybe, right? Okay. Thanks for being here, Karen. Good to see you. Oh, that's so sweet. She said, thanks for the courage to fumble through some of this. The thing is, courage is really about when you're afraid of something and you do it anyway. You guys sort of make it so it's not so courageous because you make it so safe. And thank you for that too. But it is a little courageous because there is some sort of like, in your mind, you think the number of people who are going to see you who don't know you and what an idiot you must look like. And don't think that I haven't looked at my stuff and go, oh my God, why does anybody watch? I swear. But having said that, I also have created, which I'm going to talk to you guys about, another voice in my head that's a lot more compassionate. And that took a lot of work. And I always want you all to do the same thing because I think it is about our compassion and our self-compassion and having that voice. Now we have the Gemini moon is ending today and it's going to go into Cancer. So we're not quite into the Cancer sweet thing yet, but we do have Venus in Cancer next to Jupiter in Cancer. I'm going to show you the chart. We're going to talk a little bit about it. I'm going to throw your charts into this so we can practice how to do this together. And we have a new moon coming up, which is interesting because new moons are when the moon is losing light, as we get to the new moon. And so this week is one of those where we might not feel as bright and the flame might not burn as bright. And I will come back and check your comments here soon, you guys, for real. But I do think this week and with the intensity of the planets, a lot of you are in sync with the level of shift that is occurring. Let's call it the zeitgeist. Okay, the zeitgeist, which is kind of like the generational, global, collective consciousness, the zeitgeist, the collective mind, and how it changes based on, like, we're seeing the symbolism of it in an astrology chart. I'm going to bring the chart up so we can start seeing a little bit of this, but I'll bring it up with me. Let's see. No, I think we need to do this other one. Mark, let's see. Do I have you? Yeah, there we go. So I'll do just the solo one. You don't need to have me in this part of it, but I'll be here. Okay, so here's the big chart, and I'm going to try to magnify this with you, but I just want to go over with you. I want to get your eyes used to looking at things like this because it is substantial, and it's really nice to understand. So let's come over here. Now, this is for this afternoon when the moon is going to enter Cancer. So the moon goes into Cancer at 12:05 p.m. Pacific, okay? So it's in Gemini right now, so just ignore this, but this is what it's saying. This is the moon, and that's the sign for Cancer. Once you learn your glyphs, this will be easy to see. And then you see these are similar glyphs, and that would be Jupiter, and that would be Venus. So these numbers tell us how close they are together. That's all it is. You don't have to wonder, well, how do they get that number? Don't worry about any of that. What we want to know is when the moon goes into Cancer, it will be just a little bit away from Jupiter and it moves fairly quickly. So it will be catching up with this Jupiter-Venus point. And when it does, we get this sort of it's like striking a match, lighting the fuse. The moon will light the fuse on the Venus Jupiter thing. So there will be an enhancement there. And we'll get the time of that because you might want to time some of what you do today around that little moment. So that's kind of fun. As you see here, we'll go through the chart real quick. The moon, the sun here with the circle with the dot in it, it's still in Leo. And this is its last week because it's only going to go to 29 before it shifts into Virgo. So that's why we're saying happy birthday Virgos coming up. And if you haven't said happy birthday to any Leos, you might have missed it. Okay. And I mentioned that a lot in my little moment ones that I do, my 3-minute ones. So we've got these two in Leo, Mercury and the sun. We have these 3 in Cancer. And this is a node. This is not a planet. This is an aspect of the moon's travels. Not a big deal. This is Mars, and it happens to be in Libra. Now, let's talk a little bit about what happens if you're one of these signs. If you're a Leo, you had a birthday in the last month, and this Mercury is kind of coming up to your stuff. So if you all, like, what's neat about a Mercury transit, you do feel like your mind's turned on, like ideas, communication. It might turn on in such a way for Leos where they have maybe, like, think about it if you're a Leo. I know it's common for you guys to get it's not that your feelings get hurt. I don't think you wire it that way. I think you guys call it that you were offended. Okay, like Leo, see how much you were offended with this Mercury Leo. It applies to everybody, but Leos, you kind of have that this is your cycle to be sensitive to it. That's all I'm saying. Now, when you're a Libra, you've got to deal with Mars in Libra, and Mars in Libra is basically aggression. It's like, it's anger. It's like energy. It's passion too. There's no question, but it's what moves you. And if you've noticed as a Libra that you're kind of getting angry, that you've been offended, that you want to do something with that anger, that's okay. Make note of it. I don't think necessarily that Mars asks you to take action. I think it wants you to. I think there's a burning inside of you. And I think it's easy for you to be snappish with people with this placement, especially if they're kind of being intolerable. And you would be the only person to decide that if somebody's intolerable. But for everybody, now we're going to talk about what it means when this kind of energy is in someplace in your chart. Okay, we'll get into that. I just wanted to review a few things with you. When you come down to Pluto, it's also in an air sign. It's in Aquarius. This is Pluto in Aquarius. This is generational. This is one of the main thrusts of the zeitgeist. This change here, after 14 years of being in Capricorn, Pluto being in Aquarius is one of the main things that catapult a change in collective mind. Now, we went from Capricorn, which was government, which was business, which was how we see corporations, how we see building, what we see as capitalism, probably, things like that. And we're going into Aquarius, a more global mind. Very interesting shift. We get to see what it brings. It's impossible to predict these. They're simply reflecting the change that has occurred in us, okay? And we all deal with change a little differently. Now, I want you to notice here that Uranus, another planet, is it also in an early degree of air, Gemini. So here, these two are very important. This is Pluto, this is Uranus, this is air, this is air, this is 2, this is 1. They are close together and they're basically charging the way for the shift in our collective consciousness. They are the meltdown here. They're the breaking it down for us. And it's about understanding and it's about communication. And the way we've communicated up till now has been remarkable. Like, I had a t-shirt on the other day, a couple days ago on my moment thing, and it said, I read ancient texts. And it was about cursive writing, how it's like they don't teach it anymore. And I Googled it. I wanted to understand a little more about why. And I use ChatGPT a lot. I use AI a lot for understanding, because the nuance is insane how much it speaks to me in a way. I'll tell you some of the questions I've asked. But Googled why was cursive taken away, and the idea was, the thought was that it was not modern enough, like they needed more digital experience. And I'm not understand. I don't know why you would favor one over the other, but it felt like a new kind of thing. Now, this is my experience because I'm older now. I get emails from YouTube all the time, them being offended at certain things that are being done, like when I'm gaming. But I have to tell you this, it feels like children. It feels like children who may be idealistic, and I'm happy to play the game, and I don't want to do a lot of commentary on it because I'm old, right? I don't like, who cares about my opinion? It's like the new change, and it's important to recognize that new change. But they, like, I notice on, like, there, it's very protective, and YouTube is trying to be a protective place. But some of the things that they're choosing to protect seem very random, and it seems very one-sided, and I'm not sure I understand it. So my gaming, I'm in front of a screen with a slot machine, and it's an electronic slot machine. And basically, that's what I do. I press a button and I talk about it, and I talk about it as me. Like I complain, I don't like it, I think, well, or I'm excited. Everything's the same. 600 videos, literally. And I get a letter saying, we have to make this one age restricted. It is the same. I'm not eating, I'm not drinking, I'm not cursing, but that one has to go. Okay. And I don't understand. So that is sort of what this means to me. This change, like cursive, why was that taken away? I mean, how long would it take to teach a kid cursive? 6 months? Like, to get them into practice the letters, and then they have that, and they can have the digital thing. Why take it away? And I think it also does something for the synapse of the brain when you're doing the tactile and your left brain and your right brain coming together, and it shows a certain signature. It has a certain style to it that never goes away. It's absolutely magical, cursive writing. Why are you taking that? Well, that to me feels like a young decision. Now, I'm not attacking the young. I don't care. It's just in my head, I see that as the new decision. It's young. They don't need it. They don't see why. And I think that's some of this energy is that. It's sort of like where the brain only functions without the feeling. So the air sign function here is idealize something, and notice that the decision, get rid of cursive and replace it with digital understanding, typing, in other words, like keyboards and things like that. Okay, I don't know why it all can't be done again, but it sounds like an idea. And it was an idea without a certain kind of basis in understanding. And it sounds like the people who would have defended cursive writing would be older, because we recognize the importance of it, but it was taken. And it was like, okay, that decision was made. And it was like, wow. I don't know. As a parent, I would demand that my child learn it. I would teach my child. There's no question about it. Like, you're going to learn this. I don't know. We'll get into that. But that's some of this energy. Now, it's new. Doesn't mean it's not going to grow. It doesn't mean it's not going to evolve, because it will. I promise you. What Pluto does when it changes signs is gives us the information, and then after 14 years, when it goes around completely, it completely transforms that same thought. So it grows, it matures, it does. Same with Uranus, except one is like a 14-year, 20, sometimes up to 40 years, Pluto cycle, and Uranus is up to, let me get myself back in the picture, sorry, so you all can see these amazing expressions I made. And Uranus is a 7-year cycle. So it's very short-lived. So together they're meeting, and it's sort of like, okay, the change is happening. So Uranus basically speeds things up. Uranus is kind of like the bigger brother to Mars. It does the same thing a lot more destructively, a lot more, entirely, a lot larger, and for a longer period of time. So its impact is big, right? And so one other thing that we didn't talk about that I'm bringing into the zeitgeisty picture is Neptune and Saturn. These two, this is extraordinary, because these two are hanging out together. They do, it's not uncommon for Saturn to come around every 2.5 years and sort of meet up with Neptune. But when they do meet, you've got this slow moving behemoth, Neptune, in Aries at 1, and you have Saturn, a 2.5 year planet. It's sort of like Saturn is like, when you get to Saturn, every planet after that is considered generational. But Saturn's like the bridge, the last one. It's sort of between the personal planets like Venus, Mars, Mercury through Jupiter. And then after that, you have Neptune, the slow moving planet, Uranus, Pluto, really slow moving planets. And so there's a big bridge difference. So many more of you have the same Neptune than have the same Saturn. This is the bottom line. Now, these two are together at also an early degree, 1. So they're kind of getting along. You have Pluto in an air sign at 2, Neptune in a fire sign at 1, Uranus at 1 in an air sign, these guys at 1 in fire, okay? And so basically these are new energies that are all collaborating and they're all getting along and they're creating a new kind of form for us, okay? Now, if you notice, my irritation with that sense of young, it feels young and it feels like arrogant and young. I suspect that's what many of our parents thought about the hippies or, the people who just like, forget y'all. This is the truth. This is what it's going to be. Y'all are old. Your ideas don't matter anymore. So let's move it. I'm sure that's some of the energy. And so every generation thinks that way. But if you take it out of just the cultural zeitgeist, out of that, and bring it home as a projection, okay, of what's happening on your insides, there might be a part of us whose ideas are changing, okay? There might be a part of you that has some older ideas that are shifting into a new kind of paradigm, and you're reacting to it. You might have some reaction to it because maybe you're confused. Maybe it's not like you. Maybe you're looking at friends differently, or maybe, you reacted to something that you normally didn't react to, and it's changing dynamics. I've had a lot of changing friendship dynamics over the past 2 years, and I've watched it in amazement. And thank God me and John connect. It's like sort of like the through line of my life. And, it's fun to talk about, like, okay, how different is that for you? Like, is that me being different? Would I have done that 10 years ago? I mean, and I noticed that I wouldn't have. That 10 years ago for me, it was more important to maintain the relationship than my own personal integrity. And so I'm looking like at that, like that's what's happening out here. There is a thing about like, where is the truth? What is the integrity? Notice that we struggle to find the truth in news, in media. And everyone will tell you that, I think, right? Won't you? I think most of you would agree. You don't just rely on one source, do you? Because that would shock me. I don't have one source. I have 15 sources. And if 3 of them match, then I think I know what's going on. But I work at that. Now, there's some people who are like, I'm not going to work at that anymore. I don't care. I'm going to get somebody to give me the Cliff Note version who I trust. Beautiful. I could be the Cliff Note guy for many people. So that's kind of this outer energy that I want you guys to really get a hold of and try to understand and just remember. And I'm going to circle it here because I can't circle it literally, but I can circle it with my mouse. This connection here, these 6 houses with Uranus to Pluto, Saturn and Neptune, they are sort of demanding a shift occur. And you know what? They're being nice about it. They're not being mean. They're being nice about it. We just don't always like what they have to say and how the shift occurs. But there isn't a lot of like, it's not being pushed in our faces in a way that it could have been. And this isn't happening because of an earthquake and we have to rebuild. This is happening because there is a generalized alignment on this. Now, let me see how you guys are doing. I'm looking in the room and we'll take over. Hang on just a second. So I have to look down. So this is why I'm looking down. Okay, Erica, anger. I'm furious to the point where I had to surrender just to laugh at the impossibility of life sometimes. It's Mars and Libra. Erica's a Libra, so that makes very big sense. Hey, Fran, thanks for coming. I heard someone interrupt cursive as foul language, interpret cursive as foul language. Oh my gosh, that's so, oh, a curse. I get it. Um, I wrote affirmation cards in cursive for participants at a workshop. There was some who couldn't read them. I was dumbfounded. It's crazy. It's crazy. And yes, you guys get it. I know that. Good, okay, so if I haven't said good morning to you, good morning. You just looked at your watch. That's another thing kids can't do. Read a clock. I'm telling you, it's fascinating to me. And what is really fascinating to me is to pick a time in our life when there was a generation ahead of us that didn't want to catch up to the changes that were taking place because technology was moving at such a breakneck pace. I can't imagine there were always records, right? I mean, it seems like in the 30s they had records, and they still have records. Vinyl is making a comeback, that kind of thing. So there's a through line there. It seems like, but it seems like when it comes to technology, when it comes to AI, when it comes to how they teach, when it comes to this, how psychology got involved into the heads of us, like how we raise kids and what's considered appropriate. Like YouTube is kind of being a very strict parent. And I'm grateful for that. There's no question. I want our kids protected. But I have to question who is the decider of that. There should be some universally protected things. Like murder should never be, good. Murder is never good, right? And it shouldn't be something that you can randomly go to YouTube and see. Pornography, another thing. You shouldn't be able to just go to just because turn on YouTube and see it. But there should be some dimension, and they're using AI to monitor it. But it seems like there should be something like, well, then check our ages first. Like, how are you knowing how old we are, or whatever? Or I don't know. Let me be a part of the process. Like, instead of just telling me this is going to be banned, this isn't, tell me what you're looking for and let me participate with you a little bit. It feels so detached and so power versus non-power that I don't know. I don't think it spreads a sense of goodwill. But these guys are smarter than me. Literally, everybody these days in technology. I mean, they created things like YouTube and Google, and they're some of the biggest companies in the world. They hopefully are putting wisdom in here with it, but I don't know. So what we see is the effect of what they do. We see the effect. We see some, like, younger people may be flocking to it. Older people may be shying away from it. So then again, it becomes sort of a collective push. Like, it looks like Facebook is now more mature than it used to be for the young kids. Now it's for the older kids. And where they flock is their thing. And that's okay. I don't need to follow them. So, but that's a change that we have to look at from this sort of life is changing. And it's not, are you catching up with it? Is it good? It's like when you're frustrated with some of the things that are going on, how is that? Not only is that a reflection, is that like a small cosmic micro of the macro that's happening? Are you reflecting the frustration that's in the world? Or is there a little bit of confirmation bias happening? Are you not sure where to put your frustrations, so you just assume it's coming from the outside world and that everybody should be like, you have to take charge of this in a way that some voice in your head says nothing is really changing, even though everything is changing. Some things do remain absolutely stable and constant. Some things remain stable and constant. One of those things for us new agey people and religious people and spiritual people is a God connection. One of the things that we see, and because technology and the zeitgeist and youth and anger and rage and take over, we kind of feel like there's even a right way to do that. Like, should he say God? That kind of thing. I laugh at all that because I'm back to a world where I believe my intent. And if you don't know my intent and you need to control my words, then YouTube will just can it and cancel me. But I am not going to change the components that my intentions have more power than anything else. Okay. Like my words. I know words are powerful. There's no question about it. But are we truly back to that age where you write an affirmation and if you don't say it right, it's why it didn't work? Are we really at that point where your God or your spiritual connection is so dependent on the English language being perfect, or like your heart isn't in there at all? Like what you're really asking for. So if you really need, like, the whole, it's an old trope where the guy wishes for money, but it comes because somebody in his family had to die and he got an inheritance. And then, so he basically was responsible for killing that person because of his wish. We're not doing that, are we? Because what that does is bypasses, we're living in that air zone now, but it's bypassing the compassionate heart that says that chord is the chord of love. And that love is unconditional. And that love dissolves fear because it's kind of timeless. And if we are so stuck in the external timeline that we kind of forgot that, then I think that's what we're going to reflect. The eternal timeline, external timeline out here, eternal external, that needs chaos and duality to exist. It needs it. It thrives on it. That's why we always feel the rug will be pulled out from us no matter how good things are, because we've taken this location and these spinning rocks as real. And we forgot that there is something more compassionate, more important, more loving, more timeless, more unbelievably consistent that we can tap into if we want, and we can use it to remember who we are. Now, some people would say that takes a lot of work and meditation. And I was watching a thing where the guy, I forget, was it yesterday? I was watching, there's a series of, it's A Fistful of Vengeance, and it's the Wu assassins. Okay. It's an ancient Chinese energy that comes into this kid, and they have a series of them, and I love them. I just love them. But there was a moment where he was talking to a very wise man, and the wise man, he said, what are you doing? And he was like practicing his whatever, and he goes, I'm meditating. And he said, how do you, is that how you clear your mind? And he said, yeah. And the kid asked the guy, well, how do you clear your mind? And the guy goes, I meditate. It was cute. But in other words, he called this meditating, but the guy had the real, like his meaning of meditation was, I close my eyes and get quiet. That's how I do it. And the point is, however you get there, it doesn't matter. It is important that we use some of this time period because it's a very mental world right now. Okay. Your anger is being fueled by a thought. Okay. It's being fueled by some interpretation that the world's a miss, and that there's a right way to do it and there's a wrong way to do it, and all the things that come into this endless thinking of the mind. Okay. And this is what an air trine does. This is air when you have a planet in Libra, a planet in Aquarius, and a planet in Gemini, and they're all connected. This is what it can do. It can logic itself into oblivion. All right. And it's not a bad thing. It's brilliant. It's easy to do. But it does sometimes miss the boat on a very simple concept, which is you're here, you're going to pass through, everything's going to come and go. Nothing here is forever, right? And at some point, hopefully, you've used it as a chance to find a little peace and a little happiness, okay? And however you do that, I'm not here to preach your spirituality to you. I don't care. I do care that you're happy, and I do care that you find a way. And I can tell you some of the things that work for me. But one of the things that work for me is to realize when I'm in a state that I have identified that I'm in that state because I have identified solely with the external world, and I haven't sort of tapped in a little bit here. Okay, a little heart opening. I know it sounds corny to a lot of people, and a lot of people, it's sort of like that's not their way, and it's good. It's okay. You do the external world, it's fine, because we all know where it eventually leads. Okay, we're all getting out of here, aren't we? We're all leaving. On the way, one of the things we have a chance to do is get some happiness built in. Okay, to know that this is sort of like a chaotic world. It will always be chaotic. It's not worse than it ever has been. It's always been a hellhole, basically. Very few moments of just like, very few. I mean, they come, we get them. But I think that's because it's, as long as we focus out here, that's what we're guaranteed. So we have to have a moment, a little bit in here, just a little. I'm not saying go meditate. I don't. But I do have an awareness of something that is constant and that is always for me. And when I pull my attention to that moment, to that consciousness, it's kind of sweet. And it does make life seem a little sweeter. It does. It takes it out of the drama of every day. Now I'm going to look at I'm going to check your comments, and I'm going to look here to see how this new moon is going to affect us. What houses will it bring energy to? It's an early new moon. It's at zero Virgo. So we're going to have a lot of Virgo issues up. And that means we're going to get supported in getting that time alone that we want, because that's a Virgo magic trick. Okay. Let me check and see how y'all are doing. Hang on just a minute. I remember the line from the Incredible Hulk TV show, "You wouldn't like me when I'm angry." Just the thought makes me laugh and makes me less angry. Yeah, right. Thanks, Denise. You're a sweetheart. Okay, you guys, listen. Anger's real. Mars is in Libra, and that is the scales. That's the objectivity of Libra. Like, it's the only inanimate object. So that gives you an idea of what air is possible of. It's possible to look at things so objectively that we lose our sense of heart, okay? Because it's up here. I mean, that's objectivity. And it feels better up here because we're not with all the messy emotions. At least that's what air thinks, right? It's up here is not messy. It's black and white. It's very clear. But if you're up here solely, then there is a part down here that gets omitted. It's the part that does connect to the earth and does connect to love and does connect to the heart, where everything can meet. Like, that's what the chakras are telling us. Everything meets here. The mind and the emotion meet here, so there can be some harmony, some compassion. So give it a whirl to look at. If you're angry at the world, if you just don't like the world, if everybody can just go F themselves and you're just really angry, I get all that. But that also might be your way of shutting out so you can have that time alone. It could be the unconscious drive to get some alone time. We're going to talk about why Virgos need alone time now, because that could be the motive. So if you guys are like seeing that sometimes it's an excuse, right? Sometimes your anger is an excuse to get that door shut. Because nobody wants to be around you anyway. And so it's sort of like unconsciously you got everybody out so you can like take a breath. So I get that and I understand that motive, but just also try to believe that you might have some things going on unconsciously that could be pushing this. Now I'm going to bring an image of the moon up. I'm going to bring the new moon chart up. And here's what I want you to do. Just if you can practice this, those of you that work with astrology on any level, see, this is like 0, 0. They're meeting together in Virgo at 0. You guys, that's pretty remarkable. If you can find Virgo in your chart on the outside wheel, it looks like an M that isn't a stinger at the end, right? This is Virgo. Think of it as like the M with legs crossed. Then whatever number is here, I think you're not going to have a 0 Virgo. There's a very little chance you're going to have that. So mostly it's going to be in the house that's in the counterclockwise position. So if your Virgo was in the 7th house here, the new moon's going to land in the 6th. If you have any idea where Virgo is in your chart, if it's your rising sign, it's going to be in the 12th. If it's your 2nd house, like if Virgo shows up on the 2nd house, the new moon's going to land in the 1st. If you know that stuff, that's very helpful, because wherever this moon lands, it's going to be the place where we want the most order and the most understanding. And it's very good for a reset to occur. Now, when that moon hits, it's going to be, it hits at 11 p.m. Pacific. So for the rest of us, for most of us that are not on the West Coast, it's going to be the very early morning of the Saturday. Okay, so Friday at late night, it hits exact. So up until Friday, we might feel a little bit of that pressure coming, a little bit of the days coming in, a little bit of the world closing in on us. And I'm asking you this, please. When Virgo is the new moon, we tend to look at the world as a very unsafe place. Now, to the degree that you are resisting shutting the door to the outside world, might be to that degree that the volume is loud for the world to look like a terrible place. So in other words, your unconscious or your subconscious mind is going to scare you to shut the door so you can shut the door. And I'm just saying, beat the process. Shut the door. Forget the world for a minute. Work this week. Work this week. Work this week on not upsetting yourself. Who cares about the news? What's going to happen if you gave it up for a minute? Or if it's upsetting you, give it up. I mean, if it's not upsetting you, have fun with it. Play with it. Learn some new things. But rather than wait for the universe to scare you into shutting that door, shut it. And that's what this week is going to be about. It's about how we get to create a place of solitude, of sacredness, of time to remember. Because Virgo was about service. Estrella, the goddess, came down and saw all that chaos and left. She left. Now, that is so many of you are reporting that to me, not just in the room today, but in emails and feedback that you leave in your comment section. They're saying the world sucks. I just don't want to be here. Of course, that's exactly what's supposed to happen. Your psyche wants you to hate it so you can get some time. So beat it to the point punch. Like rather than look for reasons to shut the world out, shut the world out. And what I mean by shut the world out, look at your garden, take a walk, come home, come home. What's the house like? What's going on? That energy is going to be so important for us to get. I get such a chuckle because it's like I do the very thing I'm telling you. I wait till it's insane and then I run. And it's like, remember I told you I walk with the boys until my head is clear? Well, I didn't want to end the walk today. I just wanted to go for miles. It just wouldn't clear. It did finally. It did. Because I remembered, I came home to John making a cup of coffee for me. And it was like, oh, the simple things mean so much. But we have some control over that. And that's what I'm trying to get you all to see. There's an air trine in the space, when there's that much air in the space, the mind easily goes. It does. Like a trine means easy flow. Man, this is going. There's nothing to stop it. That's why squares are literally so much easier to manage and people hate them more. Why is that? Everyone wants a grand trine. No, you don't. I have a grand trine in water. You don't want that. I could sit here for hours. I could be so content in doing nothing, but not like my mind isn't doing something. My point is, catch it. Bring some consciousness to the fact that you've been doing some of this mental stimulation, mental chaos in your mind. The ruminating is really intense, you can tell. And bring it home to a place of like, okay, I get that that's there, and try to remember some simple things. Baking bread for me is like my simple thing. Literally the garden, as I have the camera on the bird bath before we start, because the birds were just having a field day, and I was like, oh my God, I don't know. It just reminds me of a simpler time. And then I will think about things like cursive is being taken away. Like, okay, we'll deal. That isn't where we want our attention to go. We will deal. But see how easy it is to get upset about the little individual things? So wherever Virgo falls, and whatever house it's in, is simply going to tell us a little bit more about what's going to trigger that aloneness for you. From all these lower places, like the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth houses, that's under the chart. If you have Virgo down here, and that would mean basically if you're a Virgo rising, if you're Aries to Virgo, if you're an Aries rising, if you're an Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, or Virgo rising, it's down here. Okay, it's all down here. And that means it's going to be way more important for you to shut the door. Okay, just shut the door. If it's on the top part of the chart, it means that it might be more important for you to recognize the connections with other people and sort of trim those a little so that you're getting good connection and get rid of the ones that are sort of not get rid of don't connect with the ones that are a little more staticky, if you know what I mean. Let me check on you guys and see how you're doing. I'm gonna slam that door. I love that. You just explained my dream this morning. Thank you. Wow, that's so exciting. I hope so. I love that. Lots of anger in my head, relationship difficulties. I get that. Karen, I hear you. And then hippie witch. My Mars is in Libra in the 7th. Lots of anger in my head. Oh yeah, this is the hippie witch. I confuse you sometimes, and you told me your name already, and I'm sorry for that, but I'm just going to call you by your screen name, which is hippie witch. Thank you. Penny, hi. Gypsy Caravan. You've explained my dream. Thank you, hippie dream witch. I'm going to slam that door. Good. Little angel. Hi, sir. Mars in Cato in the 4th. Okay, that's in Scorpio. Did they give good results? Mars and Ketu. That's like the north node. Might be the south node, actually. You have that? Or that what you're saying? Like, you have Mars and Ketu in the 4th. Okay, in Scorpio. Well, yeah, because what's happening is you have Venus and Jupiter and the moon are all trining that point. So trine in that way, very sweet energy. So use it to come. It'll probably bring you up a little bit out into the world. Use it. Looks like good relationship connection. I've got a grand trine in water too, Mark. It's terrible because I almost feel content to drown. Poor thing. I know though. It is. It sort of like has that thing about no momentum, and it's easy to stay where we are. It's good. But if we start moving, it's like we get to like, oh, okay, then that too, like water when it moves, it's like all of a sudden it's like trickling down and then feeding everything. And it's important to keep that motion good too. Thank you, Lenny. Such a good reminder to remember to bring in loving compassion, supportive voice. Thank you. Little Angel says, hi, Mars and Keto in the 4th. Oh yeah, they give good results. They did. Oh, thanks, Audra. Thank you, sweetheart. Good. I appreciate that. Sun and Venus in Virgo, moon in Gemini. You have Sun and Venus in Virgo. So the new moon in Virgo with your sun, this time period. So it seems to me, little angel, a lot of mental things, a lot of worry. And what you could do with all that Mars in Keto in the 4th with this trine is sort of use compassion, like start finding that voice. Because you're going to want to be alone, like shut that door too to the outside world, because your mind really goes on and on. So use it to find that compassionate voice and start rewiring a little bit of support that you can bring home, because it is important that we start telling ourselves more loving and more compassionate things. Now let's look at the week ahead, you guys, real quick. This is my, oh, go away. Wait a minute. Ooh, how's that happen? Hold on. Let me see. There we go. See, the L sends it away. This is the report, the sheet I have. Now, C.A. Brooks interprets all this in plain English at markhusson.com. Another thing, that's markhusson.com, the Power Peak. The word this week is Virgo. Check this out. Written by thestars.com/numerology. I just got this new upgrade. These are reports instant. No one sends them to you. You pay for them. They show up on your screen, you download them, you get a PDF, written by thestars.com. This is Decause Numerology. Just made a deal with me to put that on my website. I'm so excited. So written by thestars.com, numerology. They run the whole show. They pop up your report. You give your date of birth and your full name, your first, middle, and last name, and you'll get these. Wait till you see the reports they have. So please try that out. I haven't yet. They are the reports I used to run for you, but they automated them. So now they're live at writtenbythestars.com numerology. That's my website. I've always had Written by the Stars. I just haven't done a lot with it. But go to writtenbythestars.com, click numerology, and see what you think of the new reports that are instant like this. So they tell you there's future prediction ones, there's personality ones, there's relational ones. It's kind of crazy how much they're offering, but see what you think. I'm so glad I remembered to tell you that. I'm excited. markhusson.com or markspowerpeak.com is where C.A. Brooks, Mo, Kelly, Ginger all do articles, but CA puts this in plain English for us on markhusson.com. The password is Virgo with a little V. Okay, so this week we're in the Cancer moon cycle, a giant void of course moon on Thursday, the 21st. A giant void of course moon up until the new moon. So 35-hour void of course moon on Thursday. I've had some fun with those long void of course moons. I no longer fear the long ones. I don't know about the short ones. This is a void of course right now. I think my mind's changing a little bit about them. I'm going to do more research on them, but I'm not lying to you. I did really good on my gaming under the longest void of course moons, like crazy good. So I'm like, okay, there's got to be something here. And maybe if you have some other aspects going on, that void of course moon sort of opens those to take over. Who the heck knows? We got to keep an eye on them, though. I've been really prejudiced with those void of courses. Okay. You guys have no more questions. I think you're good. All right. I think we're good, you guys. So just real quick, Cancer today at 12:05 p.m. Pacific, Cancer moon. So watch that change happen after the show. Cancer all day Tuesday. Leo comes in to play Wednesday afternoon. Leo all day Thursday, all day Friday until nighttime when it goes into Virgo. So a lot of Leo. This week, a lot of Cancer and Leo energy this week. Play with it. It's the sun and moon. That's the beautiful solar and lunar energies. Now, right after my show is Kat Nicholson, the Intuition Hour with Kat. That you see, I wish we could just stay tuned if you're listening live. But if you're not, you have to make sure you subscribe and be told where the location of these guys are, where they're doing their live streams, okay? Because she's now doing YouTube live streams like me. And you can go listen and talk and actually ask your questions. Serena's today, Lori Love is today, all on YouTube and all also on 12radio.com. So hopefully you'll listen to all those. Okay, you guys. Thank you so much for being a part. I guess I'll play the music from here now because apparently it's not going to work if we play it from the internal thing I set up. But I'm going to sign out. Thank you so much for all you do. I so appreciate it. Please like and subscribe and share, and that helps us grow. All right. You guys take care of your butts. I'll talk to you soon.